wheels of the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels of the bus go round and round all through.
Hey folks, and welcome to this edition of Papaw's Pods. In the last session, we ended with poor Jeff. If you remember, Jeff had lost his job because his employer Jen had quit growing vegetables and started repairing farm equipment. It doesn't matter if the job was lost due to technology or trade, the goal is the same. How can we help the person get back to a job they enjoy? First, the bad news. There is no easy, simple solution that works for large groups of people. For example, if you just give folks money for a while and send them back to the classroom, it doesn't work. As soon as the money runs out and the payments stop, the workers are no better off than before. Then there are some programs that clearly help in the short term, but the results are more ambiguous in the long term. For example, there are programs that compensate for lower wages. So let's say a person loses their job. They find a replacement job, but it pays lower than their original job. These programs will pay a portion of the pay differential for a set time period, which encourages the laid-off worker to move on to the new job rather than keep searching and waiting for one that matches their previous salary. This for sure works as long as the set time period, but the results are more mixed over a longer time period of, say, over 5 years. Finally, we have some programs that have been proven to work long term, but they are very focused, very specific, and difficult to administer for large groups of people. The gold standard here is the apprentice program in Germany. Unemployed workers are matched to fields they are interested in and that have a need for more labor. They work side by side with experienced craftsmen until they acquire enough skill to get a job on their own. So this is the opposite of a cookie cutter approach. Individual unemployed workers have to be matched to an industry they like and an industry that needs more workers. Then we have to find an experienced worker in that industry who is willing to take on a mentor role and work side by side with the unemployed worker for several years. Despite the lack of proven programs, however, I'm still optimistic for Jeff. Why? Because for hundreds of years, creative destruction has generated more jobs than it lost, and those new jobs have been more productive than the old jobs. And finally, we'll close with a brief discussion about artificial intelligence. It seems like every day I read an article warning of the destructive aspects of AI. One day it is that coders and programmers will lose jobs. The next day we hear that lawyers are endangered. A third day it is accountants who are in trouble. If I were a young person a few years from entering the job market like you, I would be anxious and worried. So I have a few thoughts I'll share with you. First, AI could indeed be very disruptive for you. AI falls clearly in the technology side of creative destruction. With most of the technology innovations we've been reviewing in these sessions, the solution was for the displaced worker to acquire new knowledge or skills. So the animal trainer for horses and carts learned to build railroad engines, and the worker laying railroad track learned to design road for cars, and so on. For the first time with AI, we have the possible situation where learning more knowledge won't help, because AI always knows more than we do. On the other hand, I would be very skeptical about the doom and gloom forecast you are hearing. Forecasting the future is very hard, and forecasting economic futures, such as markets and job losses, is even harder. No one at any time in the history of the world has been able to do this, and I see no reason to believe the forecasts we're hearing today will be any more accurate than they've been in the past. So take a deep breath and ignore all these dire forecasts. So with that in mind, I'll close with 3 forecasts. And yes, you probably should ignore my forecast also. First, the one thing I'm absolutely sure about the future is it will be different from today. Knowledge, techniques, markets, conventions, and opinions that we take for granted today will be completely different a few years from now. So stay flexible and embrace and adapt to the changes you will certainly encounter. Second, remember that for hundreds of years, creative destruction has added more jobs long-term than it has destroyed, and the new jobs it added were more productive than the old jobs lost. Of course, it is possible that this time AI is different, but it would break a powerful trend. You have history on your side. Third, if you are the owner of a business, AI looks like a winner because AI has the clear potential for your business to produce more quantity and better quality with less cost. For most of us, the easiest and fastest way to become an owner is to buy stocks. And that's all for this session. And that's all for our series on creative destruction.
The wheels of the bus go round and round.